Hi, this is Marcy Locke. Welcome to your fitness review. We're going to quickly review the basics and understandings of what I teach so that you're ready to rock it out with me, so that you're ready to jump in this and be able to maximize our results. Everything I teach is based off of empowerment. The whole idea here is that I want to empower you for life. I want you to know how to take care of yourself and live in it for life. It never flowed with me when I first became a trainer that most people just say, do this, good job for the day, and you're left desiring or needing that person to be able to create the results for you. You get to now understand how your body works so that you can work it out for the rest of your life, whether you're in a hotel room, you're traveling, or wherever. Whatever your goals are, you know how to work with your body. So let's first get into the basics of what we're trying to do. We are always going to be doing different routines, different exercises, using different tools so that we're constantly using muscle confusion or muscle variation so that our body is guessing. Because what happens is your body, when you first start to work out, your body's in what's called adaptation phase. It's starting to go, what the heck are you doing? So when your body isn't adjusted to something, your metabolism shoots up like crazy, the calories you burn are crazy, it goes way high because it's working hard, it's different, it's in a new experience. As soon as your body adapts and it gets used to it, it says, oh, I understand this workload, I know how to do this, we've been biking every day, we've been running every day, I'm used to this, your muscles adapt. What happens is it takes less, your body burns less calories because it's not working as hard, it's adapted to it. Your metabolism slows down. So the whole goal is that we're constantly always keeping our body guessing. And even doing that, if there's several different bicep heads in the bicep, there's several different exercises and variations to do. The reason we do this is because if I always work one muscle and do one exercise, not only does my body plateau, it gets adjusted in that, but I build strength, say in this main bicep, then what I'm not targeting or hitting are these minor areas or these different muscles in that bicep, and what happens is then I'm weak and imbalanced in some areas and I'm strong in others. So then I go to pick up my child or get a box or do something, and just through activities of daily living I can create injury. And so that's why it's also important to work our entire body. I also get women and people that come to me and go, okay, this is my impression, how do I get sexy butt? Just give me a little sexy butt. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't just give you butt exercises to get a sexy butt, because what happens is there's no such thing as spot reduction. You can't just target. We can target certain areas. We can focus. We can say, I want to build more definition and more tone, so these are the routines we're going to do. These are the types of things we're going to do for that. I can target on my areas as a female that I want to maybe focus on my butt. As a man, maybe I want to focus on my abs or my chest or my back. I can target areas, but there's no such thing as just spotting one area and shedding weight and getting this lean body, because you can't just target that. Like for instance, for females, a lot of times they'll lose a lot of their chest or some of their chest when they start working out, because that's more made of fat mass. So you want to be able to target certain things, but we can't just say, okay, let's just do butt exercises. You get to work your entire body so that your whole body lives in health and so that you're strong everywhere. So what we're going to do is be constantly giving you different exercises, routines, tools, such as I might be using the band, I might be using dumbbells, I might be using my body weight, so that I am constantly keeping my body in just a state where it's guessing. The other thing that we want to do is we want to also have a 48-hour rest period for a muscle. So in all the exercises that I'm going to do with you, I'm always going to, if possible, focus on doing the major muscles first. So that's my chest and my back for my upper body, and my quads and my hams for my lower body. Because if I work out my biceps and my triceps and my shoulders and these minor muscles that are supported by the major muscle, then what happens is I fatigue these out, and then I go to do the major muscle and I have less ability to work it the most or to be the most effective with it. So we're going to try to hit our major muscles first and then our minor muscles. But when I do that, if I work my chest today and then I go to work my chest tomorrow, I'm actually working against my body. These are the tools we want to teach, in that it's just like when you understand how to eat, if you're feeding your body what it can't utilize, then it works against you, even if it's healthy food. Same thing here. Even though I'm doing exercise, if I work my chest, the next day I don't let it regrow and repair and rebuild, then I'm breaking down the muscle. So what happens is you work the muscle, say for instance you work the bicep. What happens is these muscle spindle fibers, they break down and then they rebuild and repair repair to bigger, stronger muscle. There's this process where they're going into that regrowth stage, and that becomes bigger, stronger muscle. Muscle is your fat burning machinery. Every pound of muscle on your body burns 50 to 150 calories a day. So this is why we're building muscle, so that your body, literally, you eat way more food, you have way more energy, you're getting leaner and smaller with muscle. So if I don't let that regrow and rebuild and repair and take effect to what I did that day, then the next day I go to do my chest again, what I do is I break it back down. So you want to give your body at least a 48-hour rest period. That's why you'll see that we'll maybe one day do chest and back, and then the next weight day it might be, you know, quads, hams, and tris, or it's different muscles, or we're working half the body, we're doing different splits, but we're not going, I'm working chest and back today, and I'm going to do chest and back again the next day. If, obviously, I could work chest on Monday and work chest again on Wednesday, that's okay. But I just want to make sure you know, as you're empowering yourself to not do it the next day. Okay, so again, the next thing we want to do is we want to learn to maximize our results with how we lift weight. It's not about how much weight you lift, it's how you lift it. So we're going to maximize our results in what we're doing and to be effective. So I'm going to give you a couple demonstrations and things to make sure that you're getting clear on this. First thing, always, actually before I need this, first thing is always checking your posture. If I am gonna lift and I'm lifting kind of just, okay, let's do this, and I lift here, say that for instance, I lift doing a shoulder exercise like this, you can see how instantly I'm using my joints to throw things around, versus if I'm standing up straight, I've got this locked in, what am I working? I'm working my shoulder. Okay, and that's the goal, versus if my body is not locked into a good posture, I'm throwing everything else into it. This is how we create injury happening. So we want to make sure that your posture is always there. I'm always on people. I'm stepping in behind them, and I'm pulling their shoulders back, popping that chest out, and making sure that you're locked in, your core is tight. You want to pretend that you've got like a string attached to your belly button coming through your back, sucking in that core, pulling that chest back, locking it in. Even when I do biceps and I teach people where to put their arms along their sideline right here, because the only thing I'm working is my bicep. If I'm up here and I'm just kind of doing this, can you see how different that is? I'm using my shoulder, I'm using my elbow, I'm using my wrist, I'm using my back. So we want to get to getting you really in depth on, let's get to results, let's maximize this. And the first thing is watching that posture and that form. Okay, the second thing is, what I teach is going to the point of contraction. So for instance, I can use my bicep as a good example again. Okay, now I always check my posture, I lock it in. If I'm up here, I'm kind of supporting and cheating my bicep. I want to pull my shoulders back. I lock my arm in. I pretend the inside of my arm is attached to almost the back of my rib cage, or my back right here. So I lock this in. Okay, now this up here, my bicep is contracting. You can see that contraction. I'm working. Okay, now as I go down here, slow and controlled, this is a contraction as well. I'm in the bottom part of the contraction, but you see, as soon as I drop it, I lose the contraction. Now I know I'm ripped, so it's hard to tell. Joni's like, what? She's looking at me. But if you lose the contraction, I'm resting, okay? Now, so this is what most people do. They lift and throw a little shoulder into it, little elbow into it, and just lift, and then they drop. And then they lift, and then they drop. And even if they're not, I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but even so, if it's like this, okay, speed, they're going too fast, that your body is not focused on the muscle, and you're using your joints. If I have momentum working for me, I'm wasting my time. Okay, now watch the difference. Check that posture form, lock it in, okay, point of contraction, I go to the point of contraction. Notice the only thing moving here is my forearm. My bicep is working completely the whole time. Point of contraction, I'm still working, and guess what? I come back up, I'm still working. If I drop it, I am wasting my time. So we stay in that point of contraction range the entire time, and I go slow and controlled, so it's always working my muscle. This is why my peeps, and in my program, we get results so much quicker, because we're taking out all these little tiny things that work against us, and so we're maximizing our results. Now the next thing is to understand that how we create change right away is we fatigue the muscle. If I just go through the motion, I pick up, a weight, and I go, okay, I'm just going to go through the motion, and I do however many, okay, I did 12. That's it. The point is that we want to make the muscle change. I talked about how it breaks down to regrow and repair, to build bigger, stronger muscle. So if I want to do that, what happens is I get to create the fatigue in that muscle to take advantage of it. So we go through, I'm always, most always going to be having you go for 20 reps, slow and controlled. Now, it'll get crazy different because I got lots of different routines and things that I've created to fatigue the muscle, to rock it out the way that we like to. But so we're going to fatigue the muscle by when we're done, when we're on number 20, we're going to go into what I call Marcy minis. We stay in the point of contraction and we're going to do little tiny ones. Okay, so now this isn't fast. I'm not throwing this around. This isn't in my joints. I stay controlled, but see a little tiny contraction. Okay, we're going to do 10 Marcy minis. Sometimes I'll switch it up on you, but the basic idea is that we're going to, at the end of the range or the end of the reps, when you're already fatigued, and you might need a mini break, and then you're going to jump back in, but we're going to fatigue it, push it to that point of fatigue, and create that change in the muscle by doing our little tiny mini contractions, then a static hold, which is just going to be holding that contraction, because a static hold and a static contraction can become another way to effectively maximize the muscle. So we're going to hold that static contraction, and then we're going to go back into Marcy minis. So let's get clear then. A lot of people think, well, there's all these myths, especially for women, where we think, well, if I use heavy weights, I'm going to bulk up. We're using the concept of maximizing what we do and fatiguing the muscle. So if you pick a really light weight, if I would have grabbed an 8-pound weight or a 5-pound weight here and grabbed this and just been like, okay, and I even did the amount that I'm talking about, 20, and I not to that point of fatigue, I call it hitting your level 10. I want to see a level 10 face. I want to see, I'll make them too. When we get to that, we're creating change. It doesn't mean that this is for somebody who is extreme and crazy and I gotta, this is about what you get to do to create different results in your life. And these are just the concepts of understanding the body. If you're burnt and you're fried, then you take a break and you jump back in. I do it too, constantly. But it's about how do I get my body to that point in that muscle. So the goal is to start with heavy weight. Start with the heaviest weight that you can control. So for me on biceps, sometimes I might even start with 20s. Most of the times it's 15s. It's depending on the bicep exercise that I do. But I might be using a 15 and I can only control it for 5 or so reps, and because it's so uncontrolled, I'm going to that point of contraction, and as soon as I start to throw it around and I lose my form, which my form is so important because then I'm not maximizing my results anymore. I'm taking it out of the bicep, I'm throwing it into the joints, I'm more prone to injury, so I want to keep it where I can control the form. As soon as I can, I drop down to 12s, and it might be that on my third set, or after so many, I'm like, man, I can barely control this 12-pound weight. I might drop down to 10s, to 8s, to 5s, to 3s. It doesn't matter how much you're lifting. It matters how you're lifting it. So remember that phrase, it's not how much you lift, it's how you're lifting it. So that's one of the next things that I want you to be clear on as we go through. It's your level. Now, there's always a modify for anything. So this is just, one example of maybe using upper body. If we're doing lower body and there's an injury that you've dealt with in the past or whatever it is, it's always about modify. I have people in my groups from, 14 or 13 years old. I've had young teenagers all the way up to men and women in their 60s, and people with everything from neck injury, shoulder injury, back injury, knee injury, hip injury, everything. People from, they want to lose 5 pounds and they've been obsessed with it in their mind to they're over 300 pounds. It's about lifestyle. It's about creating that change for you, and so that means modify. These are the blocks and barriers that have kept you from the past. Oh, I don't look like her. I can't jump as high. It doesn't mean you have to be 20 and you can jump up to here. It means, what do you want? That's the real question, is what do you want to get to in your life? So these are the new patterns and the habits we get to create. And so with every single move, it's like, how many can you do? You might, I need a mini break, and I'm going to jump back in. I'm stronger with every rep. I'm stronger every day. It might be that I can't jump up here with both knees, but I can do this, and I can modify. And it's always about a modification or taking a mini break and then jumping back in and allowing your body to get stronger every day. I didn't look like this before. I didn't feel like this before. It was a growth process for me as well. So it's just now utilizing these tools of how to work with our body to get to that. So we go through that posture being the number one thing. Then you're being in the right form, your point of contraction, making sure that we're fatiguing out the muscles. So this is your responsibility, your opportunity for yourself. Because I'm not going to be standing next to you going, can you do higher weight? Did you really fry that out? If you stop yourself, then you're not going to create those results for you. You get to go, can I do higher weight? Can I do one more? If you can do one more, if you didn't fatigue it out, then go another 5 or so reps till you feel that fatigue, and next time grab a higher weight. But these are the concepts I want you to get down, because you're the one who's going to be in control of creating this difference for you. So, also, we get to realize now there's a difference in working with cardio and high intensity intervals and those type of things versus weight training, which I'm going to go through real quick. So with your cardio training, a lot of what I teach is high intensity interval training, throwing these types of moves in that allow your body to be burning calories at such a high level and high rate. So there's a big argument to people saying, well, no, if I run on the treadmill for an hour, I've got to burn more calories than what 12 minutes of that does. Yes, in that hour you burn more calories than what 12 minutes shows, but the difference of how your body actually works is when you do that type of training, the high intensity interval training, which I'll be teaching you, which we'll be utilizing as our cardio for at home, and also throwing it in even into weight training. We'll throw little high intensity interval moves into weight training, so this keeps your calories amped up, it keeps your body guessing. But this type of training, the difference is that it keeps your body continually burning fat and calories for up to 2 days. Research shows that that will continue to go for up to 2 days. You also have your EPOC state, your excess post-oxygen consumption state after you work out, where your body is in that regrowth, repair, rebuild muscle phase. And so there's that 45-minute window after you work out where if you feed your body correctly, which we talk about in your supplementation and we talk about in your nutrition coaching, of how to do that so that your body continues to, it gets double results with the muscles. It builds 66% more muscle and you burn fat and calories even longer. It's the same kind of concept with high intensity interval training, is that it's not about what you did in that 12 minutes, it's that it puts your body in a state of continuing to burn for a lot longer. So the high intensity interval training, again, it's all about modify to what you can do, take it at your level, go as hard as you can. It's almost like you want to go breathless or go as hard as you can, because it's only 30 seconds at a time or a minute at a time and little 10-second breaks in between. It's about, okay, what are you saying in your head? Because whatever you say in your head is what you're going to believe. I'll give you an example. I had a girl in one of our recent hands-on programs that we did, who very first day one, we're going through the basics, and she's lifting with doing bicep curls in front of the mirror, but she didn't look like this, she looked like this. Okay, she's doing this, and so of course I come along and I pull up her shoulders and I pull her back and I'm like, hey, pull up, look up, and lock this in, okay? And I said, she said, I can't, I don't want to look in the mirror. And I said, interesting, what's the thought coming up for you? What's the thought? And she said that I'm fat and sluggish, that I'm never going to be able to do this, that I can't have this body, this is never going to last for me. See, these are the thoughts that we believe and we've never questioned them. I said, interesting, what if the thought wasn't there, and what if you replaced that thought with, I'm stronger every day, I'm a fat burning machine. Okay, I'm stronger every day, I'm stronger every day. So the next day, we actually did treadmills, and she had mentioned how the same thoughts came up in her head, that I can't do this, I'm tired, I'm sluggish. Whatever we say is literally the connection to our body, what it believes and it's going to experience. So she said, Marcia told me to switch this, so I'm going to say, I'm stronger every day. And she said literally she felt this surge of energy just come through her entire body, and she ran faster and harder than she's ever run in her life. And this was on day 2. So, what are you saying in your head? If you're getting tired and you feel tired, it's a day where you feel like you want some energy. If you say, I'm tired, I can't do this, I don't look like that, I'll never be able to do this, guess what? You're right. Whatever you believe or say, you're right. So what do you now want is what we get to shift this to, because it's all about your pace, your intensity. It's what is your level 10. It's what is your level at the moment, and every day it'll get better and better. Every day you're going to get stronger and stronger. But you have to first be the person, do these things to have these results. Not, oh, well, someday if I can have that, yeah, then I'll be happy. If I have the body someday. You're never going to get to what you want if you don't start and become aware of what you're at and take the actions and the tools to create something different. So that's where we really get to start, but I want you to focus on what's in my head. What am I saying to myself? What do I now want to have? And now what are the actions I get to do to change that? Because this gets to become a lifestyle for you for the rest of your life. If you really want to be in peace and flow with your body, it to be easy and effortless for the rest of your life, it starts with these tools. We will teach you the behaviors, we'll teach you the eating, we'll teach you the exercise. That is easy. This is the easy part. Me standing in front of you, this is the easy part. I do want to show you real quick how work through making sure the form is a little bit of a basic knowledge, because for instance, if I go to do a chest press, okay, most people will do a chest press and it's up here. They're doing this. Now notice, this is mostly my shoulders and my arms that are all taking into effect with the chest. Now watch, as soon as I drop this down to a 45-degree angle, you can see how, and I squeeze right here, this is me working the chest, but up here, watch. You can barely see the chest even getting anything into play. So again, I'm always going to be reminding you, watch that form. So here with the chest, same thing with the back. What do you see on I'm going to actually use the band for this. I'll show you. If I'm doing a back row, like a basic row, okay? So my goal is I'm working my back muscles, right? I'm working back here. But this is what you normally see on any type of cable machine or row at the gym. People are doing this. Okay, they're right here. What am I working? I'm working my arms. Not to mention, yes, I was going fast. Even if I'm going slow though, I'm working my arms. Our goal is to work the back. So with your back exercises, most of the time, we're gonna pop the chest out and lean back. It's one of the only times that we're not necessarily focusing on a straight up posture. So I'm gonna pop the chest back, come back, and then I wanna squeeze my elbows behind me, like they're trying to touch each other and squeeze. Almost like I have a pencil in between my scapulars and that I can squeeze back and I can hold that pencil. So my goal is to squeeze back here, and then I barely let it come up before I lose the contraction. If I go here, I've lost it in my back, and it's back into my arms. So I want to squeeze, and then barely come out, and then squeeze back again. And again, when I talk about point of contraction, I want you to go slow, controlled, hold that point of contraction for almost 1 second, then we go slow and controlled, and we hold the point of contraction again for 1 second. So these same kind of basics. Again, with my shoulders, most of the time I want you to have a soft C is what I call it, or soft elbow, because if I lift like this, say that for instance I'm doing a frontal raise in front of me, so hopefully you can see this. If I lift with my elbow locked, then what I'm actually getting is I'm putting all the pressure. Pick up a weight and do that. You feel all the pressure in your elbow or in your wrist, not even in the shoulder. So if I have a weight and I go like this, I feel everything is trying to hold the weight right here. But if I lock it in, to see how this even shows up in my muscle, as soon as I pop that elbow, and so I have a soft C here, it puts all the weight and pressure in my frontal shoulder. So again, I'm going to do a frontal raise to work the front of my shoulder. I'm going to do a lateral raise to work the side of my shoulder. I'm going to do a scaption raise to hit kind of right here. I do all these different variations so that we're working the entire body. We're building strength everywhere. We're getting that muscle definition everywhere. But it's being clear on how we're maximizing those results. So with the biceps, again, I told you how we're locking everything back in. The only thing that's moving is my forearm. I will be reminding you of these forms and these concepts as we go through the workout. But I want you to get a basic understanding down. With your squats or your lower body, you're going to be just always pretending that your knees are above your ankles. You're sitting back in a chair. We want that chest up. If I'm ever going here and I'm leaning over, then I'm putting it in my back and I'm not working my legs. So I want to go here and I want to press through my heels and squeeze up. But notice my knees are always never going forward. They're always staying behind or above my ankles or behind my toes back here. So, and then I press through my heels, squeeze. Same thing with my inner thighs. When I do an inner thigh exercise, I want to pretend my feet are on ice skates and I'm pulling them in. So I'm squeezing in contraction versus if I'm going here, I'm putting everything into my joints. So the whole idea is that we're going to teach you how to work correctly with your body, how to be in the right form, so we're working the muscles. We're not messing around here, we're not working the joints. This is why I like to be short, sweet, and effective by maximizing those results, staying in the point of contractions, creating that fatigue so we create change quickly. When we do this, you're going to create change quickly with the body. That's the easy part, it really is. What we get to look at is why you won't allow yourself to do it, and that's why this becomes a life shift for you in creating the the peace and the clarity to get what you really want. I'm excited for you to join us, for us to rock it out in the body, in the mind, and also in the rest of your life. This is Marcy Locke reminding you, power choice is yours, so choose your best life.